Welcome to Cricket Bites. Today I'm going to be talking on the topic peace in pressure. Talking about IPL, CSK is one of my favorite teams, and of course we all do love their captain Mahendra Singh Dhoni. Quietness and peace is one of the hallmarks of the CSK franchise. We don't see the players abusing each other on the field. We don't see the captain hurling insults at any player even when they do a mistake. The reason is they create this atmosphere of quietness and peace around them. This quiet nature of the captain is what makes everyone call him Captain Cool. It's a policy of the CSK management and the owners that they will never involve themselves in the results of the game. Whether it's defeat or loss, the players are treated the same way. The CSK management and the owners are responsible only to create a very peaceful and amicable atmosphere for the players and their families. That's why CSK has been a very successful franchise, featuring in 12 playoffs in the 14 seasons they played, and of course 10 finals in the last 14 seasons. Talking about this peace and quietness, I am reminded about David and Goliath's story. What a pressure situation that was. David had to face the giant, and the entire nation's future depended on the shoulders of this young man called David. After a lot of convincing the king, he finally gets this permission to go and face the enemy. But the best part was, he did not rush to the battlefield as soon as he got the appointment order. But what he did was he took those little steps to a tiny little brook where he could spend some quiet time preparing himself for this great battle. That's why I always say, before you run to the battle, always walk to the brook. That's why we read in Psalms 23 that God leads us in still waters. Yes, of course, as you read through the psalm, there is this valley of the shadow of death that the sheep had to endure. There are these enemies that the sheep has to endure. But before getting into all that, God made sure that the sheep had to go through those still waters where God would comfort it, prepare it for the great battle that is ahead of it. Talking about Gideon. Man, I'm always surprised about Gideon and God's call on his life. But before God could put him on the battlefield, God revealed himself as this Jehovah Shalom, which is God of peace. God wanted him to enjoy this peace before he could go and face his enemies. And that's why when 32,000 people came to fight along with Gideon, God said, this is too much. And if you and I were in the position of Gideon, we would have thought 32,000 is too less to fight these Midianites who were spread like grasshoppers. But the peace of God that was in Gideon made him realize that if God says it's too much, it's too much. And his heart was able to take that. And from 32,000, it comes down to 10,000. And probably Gideon was thinking, is 10,000 enough? God says, 10,000 is too much. And he brings it down to 300. Just 300. And Gideon asks no question to God, because his heart was already in that space of peace to understand God's plan. I'm thinking Gideon was wondering, what weapons is God going to give to these 300 people? Probably atom bombs, probably machine guns. And God says, you know what? The weapons that I'm going to give these 300 people are nothing but a pot, a lamp, and a trumpet. Can you imagine 300 men having a pot, a lamp, and a trumpet fighting the Midianites who is spread like sand of the sea? And God says, that's the weapons that you have. And again, Gideon never asked a question, because God had already filled him with that peace that passeth all understanding. And I believe that we as Christians, we as believers, we as body of Christ, we need to fill our homes, we need to fill our church, we need to fill our environment with this peace of God. And that's why we need God to fill our homes, fill our lives, and fill the environment around us with peace that will always pass all our understanding. And always remember, never run to the battle before you walk to the brook. And I pray that God will fill us with peace in pressure situations as well. God bless.